They laughed at the map before they ever looked at it. And in that single careless moment, an entire war room revealed who understood war and who didn't. The table was cluttered with crisp satellite printouts, glowing screens, and half-empty coffee cups catching the bright midday sun pouring through reinforced windows. In the center lay her map, crumpled, hand-folded, edges frayed like it had been carried through dust and sweat. A few soldiers smirked. One actually chuckled. Another shook his head and leaned back, as if the outcome was already decided. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. She stood at the edge of the room, spine straight, fingers still resting on the paper. Captain Alara Voss had arrived late from the forward sector, boots still carrying the pale dust of open ground. She felt every pair of eyes measuring her. The room hummed with quiet confidence, the kind that comes from believing you already know best. Is that hand-drawn? Someone muttered. Alara didn't respond. She had learned long ago that explanations offered too early were never heard. Still, a knot tightened in her chest. The map wasn't pretty. It was honest. And honesty, she knew, often offended people who preferred clean lines to hard truths. The commander hadn't arrived yet. The laughter lingered like smoke. Alara's thoughts drifted, uninvited, to the patrol that morning, the heat shimmering above the road, the way birds scattered suddenly, the almost imperceptible vibration beneath her boots. She had felt it then. She felt it now. Something was wrong. Then the door opened. Commander Hale stepped inside, sunlight outlining his shoulders. The room fell silent as chairs straightened and murmurs died. His eyes swept the table and stopped on the crumpled map. He didn't smile. He picked it up. The paper crackled softly in his hands. Outside, a helicopter passed low, its distant thrum vibrating the glass. Alara held her breath. She watched his brow crease, not in confusion, but in recognition. He leaned closer. The room leaned with him. Hale's finger traced a jagged line Alara had sketched along a dry riverbed. Then he stopped at a cluster of symbols, small, uneven, marked with dates and times. His jaw tightened. The air shifted, like a storm deciding whether to break. "Who made these markings?" he asked. Alara swallowed. "I did, sir." A pause. Long enough for doubt to bloom. Long enough for regret to threaten her resolve. Hale nodded once. Slowly. "These aren't guesses. They weren't questions either." He turned the map toward the room. "These are pressure points. Movement patterns. Ground that looks empty but isn't." His finger tapped a spot several miles from their planned route. "You see this curve? Vehicles avoid it because it looks unstable, but it's compacted underneath." The soldiers leaned forward now. Coffee cups trembled as hands shifted. "She's marked every place an ambush would succeed," Hale continued, "and every place it would fail." The laughter was gone, replaced by something heavier. Alara felt heat behind her eyes. Not pride, not yet. Relief. The kind that comes when the truth finally finds a voice. One officer shook his head. "But the satellite doesn't hear the ground." Hale cut in. "She walked it." Silence. Then murmurs. Then urgency. Orders snapped into motion. Units reassigned. Routes redrawn. The war room transformed. Screens updating. Markers moving. Soldiers flowing around the table like a single coordinated wave. Outside, boots hit pavement in unison. Tools clinked. Engines turned over under the bright, unforgiving sun. Alara stepped back, heart pounding. She thought of the patrol she'd almost lost months ago. She thought of how close they'd come today. She thought of how easily truth could be missed when wrapped in the wrong paper. Hale met her eyes across the room. Just a nod, nothing more. It was enough. By afternoon, the operation unfolded exactly as her map predicted. An ambush avoided, lives spared. The dust settled without blood soaking into it. Later, when the room was empty again, the crumpled map lay smoothed and weighted at the center of the table, because wisdom doesn't always arrive polished. It arrives earned. And sometimes the most important lines are the ones someone almost laughed away. If this story stayed with you, Share where you're listening from and what moment hit you hardest. And if you believe courage often speaks quietly, subscribe. There are many more stories waiting to be told.